Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Everything you know is a lie, but that's okay because I'm about to put you on and I'm about to tell you the truth. This was actually recorded after the episode because I didn't know what I was going to title this episode, but then boom, popped in my head like a light bulb. Everything you know is a lie. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Yo, what's up, ladies and gents? How we doing? Welcome back. This is the vs. Matrix, episode 6, and today I don't really know what we're going to talk about today. I got a couple different ideas for videos. One of them we're going to see what the title of this video, but one of the ideas I had was talking about your brain and consciousness and what are you. So maybe the title is going to be what are you? Who are you? Something along those lines. We'll come up with a better title. But anyways, we're gonna be diving deep into what you truly are, what I am. Spoiler alert: we're the exact same shit. We're the exact same thing. So I would like everybody in the class to close your eyes with me. So we're gonna do this together. Close your eyes. All right. And now I want you to ask this question, and I'll ask it too. Who am I? And really think about it, because of course, if you've never done this before, the first thing that's gonna pop up is, oh, my name is fucking Tabernacle Jones. My name is Larry Finkelstein. My name is Jerry Hinkleberg. My name is Zane Ralston. Your name is going to pop up. And you're going to say, and you're going to have a whole bunch of stories. This is who I am because this is what I've been through. This is what I've experienced. And this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Right? But that's not what we're looking for, because those answers are fake. Those are all just thoughts. When we ask the question, who am I? Especially with our eyes closed, who am I? Maybe a better question is, what am I? Because if you think you're that little voice inside your head, that little voice that says, oh, my name is Zane Ralston, or that little voice that is constantly talking, that voice never shuts up unless you train it to shut up and tell it to shut up sometimes. But for the most part, for 99.9% of people, that voice never shuts up. But if you are that voice, right, then who is the one listening to the voice? So here's a little spoiler alert for you, a little cheat sheet. You are not that voice in your head that is constantly talking and constantly, thinking and saying, this is good, this is bad, you go do this, go do this, go do that. That's not you. That's just the thoughts. That's just the thoughts. If you want to think of it, think of it like this. Everything is vibrations. This is one of the Hermetic principles, and it's also being proven by science. Everything vibrates. Nothing is still. So everything is vibrating, including you. Okay? So your brain is like a little antenna. Okay? And the antenna connects to different radio stations, just like a radio antenna. You're on the radio station, you turn the dial, maybe you're on 95.7, the party, right? And then you turn it to 95.8, 95.9, right? And these are all very similar frequencies. The frequencies are being transmitted out in the air, and then the radio channel picks it up, but then you get to 96.2 or something, and it's called the, whatever the fuck 96.2 is, I don't know. But anyways, this is like your brain. Your brain is like a radio station, and so you can tune it, but for the most part, brains aren't tuned, so they sort of just swing back and forth like a pendulum, and it'll be, one end of the spectrum will be the really low, maybe you're on like channel 5 or something, channel 100, something like that, low, right? 100 might sound, 100 might sound like a lot, but it's not, if maybe you're on, we'll just say channel 2, maybe you're on channel 2, right? And your brain is filled with a bunch of bullshit. And when I say you are on channel 2, I mean you are listening to channel 2. Channel 2 would be the thoughts in your head. That would be the channel 2. And it's, oh, this sucks, I hate this is bad, you suck, it's shame, guilt, fear, and these are the things that you're listening to. The thoughts, that little voice in your head is saying all this stuff, right? You're the one listening, obviously, like we just said, you are the one listening to the thoughts. And then maybe, you walk outside and the sun is out and you see a pretty girl, and then then you turn up the channel a little bit. The channel turns up, maybe you're at like 300 now instead of 100, right? Now you're at channel 300, you're like, okay, this isn't so bad, and you're the one listening still, but now the thoughts are like, oh, well, this, it's a nice day out, girl's good looking, and you're walking along, I like my outfit today, maybe I'll go get some coffee, you're walking along, and then maybe you get the coffee, and that caffeine really hits the spot, and you get some dopamine. Oh, now you're on channel 500, right? And now you're thinking, wow, what a day, what a great day. Maybe I'll go hit some golf balls, right? I'm just sort of walking you through one of my typical days, right? But maybe I'll go hit some golf balls. It's a nice day, and then you're driving, and you got the music playing, and you got the top down, and you got the late, you look over, you're at the red light, there's a good looking girl next to you, say, oh, what's up, shorty, and you keep on driving, you're feeling cool, you got the music, it's bumping, right? Now you're on like channel 700, you're vibed out literally, because everything is vibrations, and you're at a high vibe right now. That's what high vibe out, good vibes, that's what it all means, right? So anyways, then maybe you get to the club, the range, you get your clubs, right, and you just hit the most butter shot, just the most fucking 200 with an 8 iron, right? 200 with a 7 iron, just fucking butter, right? And you're feeling really good right now. You're like, holy shit, and the sun's still out, and you maybe have a beer or something or whatever, and you're just having a great day. And now your radio channel is up at the 800s, right? So this is how the brain works. And I'll give you another spoiler alert. The highest vibration you can get is God. This is like the speed of light, basically, is like the highest vibrating thing. There's all these things that science actually backs up, all this esoteric stuff. It's funny. What we sort of have in this world is like, I've talked about this before, but a long time ago, we had all this wisdom, like in Egypt, and even before Egypt, people were spiritually advanced. They knew all these spiritual truths. They knew that all was mental. They knew how everything worked. They knew it, and they taught it, and they studied it, and everybody knew, right? And then what sort of happened is the information got lost a little bit, and it also got gatekept. These mystery schools and secret societies started popping up, and they were like, no, the masses, they can't have this information. It's too potent. They won't understand it. We're gonna hoard it for our own benefit. And then what sort of happened is, we might have had like this peak spiritual, world, maybe it was Atlantis, whatever. And then sort of the pendulum swings down, and then it swings towards like lower vibes, like evil and bad stuff, like the Epstein files that we see now. And then the pendulum, I've talked about this before too, will eventually hit the maximum amount of evil and corruption, and maybe this is the new world order, one world government, who's to say. And then it'll swing back, and then we'll eventually have that same enlightened society, But what was my point? What was my point? It's a great question. What was my point again? I guess my point is that this is the way life works, and the thoughts in your head, that little voice in your head, is the little radio station, and you can tune it, and you can choose, maybe a bad radio station comes on, maybe level 10, radio station 10 comes on, and it's, oh, I'm so scared, or I hate this. I've had my fair share of experiences with the lowest radio stations where I'm super paranoid, and I just hate it, and it's the lowest state of vibration, But I've also had my fair share of experiences with the best, the most blissful, peaceful stations. And so, oh yeah, this is what I was going to say. Sorry, let me go back to my other point. I was going to say, we had all this information, this esoteric wisdom, spiritual wisdom, it was all readily available. Everybody knew it, and then it got gatekept, and then we had sort of this corruption and bullshit come through. And then, now we have this modern science. But it's funny, modern science is basically just catching up to what we knew thousands of years ago, what they knew in Egypt thousands of years ago. And now we have this modern science that the only discoveries, they've made a lot of discoveries that have already sort of corroborated the esoteric stuff, but the only discoveries that they're going to continue to make are just going to further point them back to all this old wisdom that we already had, all this mental, all the hermetic principles, all this stuff. So, anyways, that's just a little interesting thought experiment. I don't really know what I'm going to title this video. I'm going to watch it back and make sure it's good. It's only a 9-minute video, so it's fucking pretty short. But yeah, just keep that in mind. You're not the voice in your head. The voice in your head is just like a radio station, and you can tune it, and you can choose to listen to some stations more than others. You can choose to not listen to some stations at all. And the goal would be to always try to listen to the highest station. And it's hard. It's not easy, but the highest station, it would just be, I guess, sort of silence, where you're just pure being. It's sort of that I am consciousness. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a good clickbait title for this episode. But it's episode 6, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the flip. Peace out, boys.